How to never run out of things to say. So I have a student at the moment, he has this problem and it's easy fixed. It is really easy to fix, and I'm going to explain to you guys what I explained to him. Before we kick it off, I'm Dave, and this channel is dedicated to giving you no bullshit novel dating advice for the modern man. My book's in the description, and in the description you can sign up to get some coaching with me one-on-one, or do some boot camp in the near future. So, how to never run out of things to say. Now, do you have this problem with your friends and family? Do you go to a family dinner and sit around and think, oh, what do I say to my dad or my brother or sister or mum? I'm running out of things to say to them. Do you have that problem? I bet 100% of you out there do not have that problem. You go meet your friends, I doubt you have a problem with things to say either, do you? So then the question is, why do you have this problem, and why do you need to say specific things? Why do you need canned lines? Why do you feel this way? Well, firstly, I have noticed that a lot of guys, when they get nervous, they don't know the girl that they're out on a date with, they want to impress her. Well, firstly, they're obviously filtering. They're worried about saying the wrong thing. If we can somehow limit your filtering as much as possible, that would be a good start. Secondly, they feel that if they don't say something that is magical and makes them seem cool, that the girl's going to walk away, the girl's going to leave because he's not fascinating enough. And so technically they're thinking, I want to trap her with the right canned lines, and that's probably why you're watching this video. So then you think to yourself, okay, well, what is the problem? I also noticed that when guys are in these conversations, there's gaps, there's silences that they want to fill. So there'll be a little silence, they're nervous, so they see that, oh, okay, well, she's going to go away, she's going to run if I allow this silence to continue, she's going to run away. And so there's this nervousness and this feeling that you're not worthy of her attention, and that she is so much more important than you, and there's all these things going on in most guys' minds, obviously, when they're thinking this, because you don't feel that around your family or your friends, because they accept you. When there's a silence, you don't even think to fill it up with random ramblings about random things, is it? And if you think about it too, if you're filling, because of the nervous energy, you're filling up all of the silences with words, you're using more words, you're talking more, and therefore you're more likely to run out of words because you're just expelling more words and more conversation that probably doesn't need to be said. If anything, holding on to a bit more silence will give you more time and show that you're the type of guy that she should be hanging out with as well. So if you keep all those things in mind next time you're out on a date, I think that it would be very helpful. But there's a lot of you guys out there that will be thinking, okay, well, that's not very helpful. You've just given me the philosophy behind it. I want some hardcore ways to never run out of things to say. Well, okay, well, firstly, just obviously feel that you are worthy of her attention. Try if possible to not fill the gaps. Try not to fill in all the little silences, and don't fear that she's going to run away. If anything, flip it in your mind and think, okay, well, I'm willing to walk away if it's not going very well. And in your mind, I made a video not long ago where I would imagine I would have it's like The Secret. I would have this vision of how the date's going to play out, and I would vision it playing out in my favor. So I would have a plan for the date already planned out in my mind before I go out on the date. Okay, I'm going to meet her here, then we're going to hug, we're going to hold hands, we're going to go to the date location, we're going to drive there, after that we're going to go somewhere else, we're going to go somewhere else. If it's, you know, you've been dating for a while, then after that we're going to go back to my place and maybe you know, go straight to sleep in my bed or whatever. You know, you have a plan. I'm going to escalate on the way back. You planned it out, and you think positively that this is going to pan out really well for you, and you just believe that it's going to happen. But okay, what are the things that you should be talking about, that if you this doesn't help, this first part of the video doesn't help you, what should you be doing? Well, what I would do was I would go into, if it's on a date or even off the first time you've met the girl, what we deem to be logistics. So I would want to know, you know, where she lives, where she works, how she transitions between these places. See, it's almost 40, 50 or more percent of her entire week is spent at work, most people. And then sleeping is a large percentage of that as well. So she's sleeping at home. This is one location, logistics. The workplace location is where she's spending the vast majority of her week. And another large percentage of her week is spent transitioning between. So if you know where she lives, you know that most of the time is spent there. The second largest amount of time is spent at the workplace, and the third largest amount of time is spent transitioning between, depending on how far away she is. If she lives even an hour in between, then you have it's a larger amount of you know, transport in between every day, to and from work every single day. Once you know that, you know the vast majority of what she's doing every single day, and then you can plan other things around that. So logistics is very important, and then you can elaborate on it. So she lives in a certain area, then you can talk about that certain area. You can talk about how, you know, where you live compared to where she lives. You can go into who she lives with, her roommates, or you know, it's an apartment, or is it, you know, you can talk about that. Does she have any pets? There's a lot of things about where she lives, which, because she spends the vast majority of time there, you can ask so many questions about that. You can expand off that. Work. I wouldn't necessarily get into work too much, but you can elaborate on that. So this is the basics of the beginning of when you're out on a date or whatever. If you run out of things to say, you should, I teach my students logistics is number one, because once you've got the logistics down, everything else can fall into place. Obviously, there's a lot of strategies in between that are very important, but logistics is very important. Now, okay, so let me tell you about an approach today. Just for an example, I was walking along, and there was this girl that obviously came from the library. She had a pile of old books, 4 or 5 little books like this, and I obviously just an environmental opener. I was like, oh, so you've been to the library? And then we went into what she was doing at the library. She said that she's getting some COVID books. Then instantly I realized, okay, off the approach within a couple seconds, okay, intelligent, reads, paranoid about the COVID virus. She wasn't wearing a mask, so I took all of that information in within 5 seconds. And then I went into, okay, well, why aren't you wearing a mask if you're so paranoid and you need books for the COVID and you're staying at home? That's not really in line, is it? So I'm teasing her a little bit and challenging her. Then we go into the books. What are the books? Are they novels? Are they non-fiction, or are they fiction? Are they romance novels? Is she studying something which are related to these books? Why did she buy these books? If she has 5 or 6 different books, are they all in the same niche or industry or topic, or are they random? And in that moment, I can gather so much information about her within literally 30 seconds of the first conversation. We started talking for ages, and just kept expanding on the simple approach, which was, okay, she's holding 5 books. There's a library about 100 meters away. Did you just get those books from the library? This was my conversation starter, and then it just kept expanding, it kept expanding, and it kept expanding. Then when I ran out of things with the books and her not wearing a mask and teasing her about that, so I had built rapport. We understood each other a little bit better. I teased her so that, let her know that I'm willing to walk away as well. I'm not, really needy. Then I went straight into logistics, and that's kind of how it is. Where do you work? Where do you live? Gather all that, and once I've got all that information, I've literally got the massive foundation for how a proper conversation, when you are attracted to a girl in the street and you just meet her, and how you can get that to happen. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. So now, okay, so you've covered that and you've run out of things to say again. Okay, well, what do people like to talk about? How do you build rapport? Now, rapport for girls is very, very important, and so I believe that you should be talking about their family. Are their parents together? Do they live with their parents? Are their parents overseas? How many siblings do they have? Are they boys or girls? Where in the family is she placed? Is she the youngest girl in the family or the oldest girl in the family? When you start to understand her family and you start talking about her family, firstly, she understands that you're interested in her, and girls love that. They like a guy who's interested in them and their family. It shows that you're interested in them. It builds a lot of rapport. But when you gather that information, if she's the youngest in the family and she has 5 older brothers, she's got a lot of guys protecting her that are going to be like, no, you shouldn't date this guy. If she's the oldest girl in the family, and she's got younger brothers and sisters, she's usually the most mature and the one that takes charge and controls things. So if she has older sisters, and if they have a good relationship as well, then she might want to replicate their relationship. So if you understand how her older sister has a boyfriend or is married, or how old is she? Is she 10 years older and she's married at 25, and the girl that you just met's 23, then you can gauge, okay, well, she'll probably want to get married within 2 years. Like, there's so much information that you can gather by talking about her family. Does she like her mum more, or does she like her dad more? This is very important. Are her parents separated? If her parents are separated, that means that she's more likely to get a divorce in the future too, because her parents have modeled this divorce thing for her. If she's more of a daddy's girl, then she's more likely to be attracted to, I've noticed daddy girls, girls that like their dad, tend to be more receptive to guys, just from my experience. There's a lot of factors. I'll simplify it. There's a lot of factors. There's a lot of things you can talk about when it comes to the family, and it builds rapport. It builds trust. If you know a bit about her family, it builds trust with her. Now, then we can go into what is the most obvious thing, is occupation. And a lot of people lead with occupation. I don't think that you should be leading with occupation at all. But then you should go into occupation, I guess. After you've done a lot of these other things and you're running out of things to say, occupation. And if you have a relatively good occupation, what you're trying to project is that you are provider, boyfriend material. That's the whole reason for talking about occupation. There's no other reason to be talking about occupation. It is purely if she wants to gauge whether you can afford to keep her as a girlfriend, and that you may be marriage material in the future. If she's asking about that straight away, she's thinking about money and getting a boyfriend that can pay the way. And so occupation is something you can talk about after that. And then after that, there's, well, hobbies. What does she do for recreation? Does she have any sports? Does she simply go to work and then go to the gym afterwards? What you're doing at this stage is you're figuring out, what is she into? Is she into music? Is she into concerts? Is she just a party girl? That could be a warning sign. Does she hang out with a lot of male friends? That's another warning sign. She's more likely to cheat on you. There's all of these things that come under the umbrella of recreational hobbies, sports, things that she does. Does she play video games, etc.? And what you're doing there, you got to have a plan, you see. Occupation is proving that you're boyfriend material. Getting the hobbies, if she likes hiking or whatever, what you're doing is you're thinking, okay, hiking. We can go for a hike next week. I know a place we can go hiking together. She likes hiking already. She wants a guy that she could do her hobbies with. The whole reason for getting her hobbies is for you to try and figure out what you guys can do together on the next day. That's the only reason. So you have, there's method to the madness here, okay? If you're talking about hobbies, don't just talk about her hobbies and then just let it pass. You're missing vital information and opportunities to line up future dates by gathering that information. You see, everything has a reason. And then once you've run out of all of those things to talk about, and if you've run out of all those things to talk about, we can go back to the very beginning of this video where I said, look, if there's gaps in the conversation and you're filling them up and you're literally piling as much information in there as possible, and you're not elaborating on each of these topics large enough, you're not elaborating and going deep enough into each of these topics, and you've still run out of ideas, you've still run out of conversation. I've never run out of conversation on a date, ever. If you just follow this basic structure, it's really simple. There's just nothing you could never ever run out of conversation. But if you do, then what we need to do is we need to ask questions about her future. Okay, so you've totally run out of things to say because you have a motor mouth, you're filling the gaps and you're not elaborating. That means you're not really listening anyway, but just imagine that you are that terrible that you've run out of things to say. Maybe you've had a 4-hour date. I wouldn't recommend that either anyway, so I can't imagine how you would run out of things to say. We can at this point, during this entire time, I will say that anything in the environment can be commented on at all times. You're in a restaurant, the waitress drops a plate and crashes it. It smashes on the ground. You comment about it, you talk about it, you talk about the reaction of other people. What that does is it creates you two commenting on something else. You're a team now. You know, it creates this team and it builds more rapport. So if you're commenting on other things around the restaurant, you're in a bar, someone's making out in the corner over there, someone's really drunk over there, you're in a cafe and there's some people over there doing something weird or whatever, comment on it. All of these things definitely help, and you can slot that in if that happens at any stage during the day, during all of these things that I've just talked about. You can always do that, but one thing I will say is don't criticize people. Don't be sitting there going, oh, that guy's a loser, that guy's really fat, you know, don't be because that makes you look bad. So don't be ridiculing people or doing anything like that. Now you've run out of things to say at the end of all of this, which is almost impossible. Her future. What is her future? Where does she see herself? This is the last thing. There's a lot more things we could probably talk about, but say her future. Where does she see herself in 5 years' time? If she's studying in uni right now, or she's just started uni, or she's just started in her career, or she's just started something new, where will she be in the future? If she talks about some sort of hobby that she's doing at the moment, or some sort of job that she's doing, just say she's a hairdresser, she's doing her apprenticeship, does she think that she will be starting up her own business, or she'll be working for the employer forever? Does she think that she'll be a hairdresser forever? Is this just a stepping stone to something else? This is where she'll be in the future, what type of dreams she might have in the future, where will she be in the future. And then you can associate her dreams with your dreams, where you will be in 5 years' time, what your plans are as well. This is just useful conversation pretty much for anyone, but it also you can see if her future is in line with your future, which I think is pretty important and something that everyone should be doing. So, how to not run out of things to say. I think I could probably keep talking. This is only really a one-sided conversation. I'm just talking to the camera, but if you are out on a date and you follow the structure that in this video that I have just explained to you guys, you should never really run out of things to say. I can probably make a few more videos on this topic. We'll see how I go. But there's so many things that you can talk about on a date. This is a basic foundational structure that you should be taking out when you first met someone, when it's in a social circle, social environment. If it's just one-on-one with her as well on a date in a quiet little cafe, you should always have a lot of things to talk about. There shouldn't really be a lot of silences. So if you like this video, click the subscribe button. If you want some one-on-one coaching with me, make sure you click the link in the description, fill out the quiz, and we can get on with some coaching no matter where you are in the world. And if you want to do some boot camps, we can try to organize one of those in not too distant future. If you want to just join my community, I have a Telegram group. You can join up to the Telegram group and speak to me right now. You can literally join up to the Telegram group and start asking questions and tell us about your dating experience. And for the rest of you guys out there that are already in the Telegram group and that have already done some coaching with me, I'll see you guys in the next video.